Today is June the 14th, June 11th, 2024. I'm sorry, the Crimson Tide's got some big recruiting news. We've got some Coleman Coliseum updates on good and bad. And a little baseball action, man. We had a Paul Skenes, Shohei Ohtani matchup this past week. It doesn't get any better than that in baseball. So let's burn on. And we're back. So good evening, everyone. What's up, boys? We're a man down tonight, but Jeff, your host, co-host Scott, co-host Hunter. What's up, boys?
Roll Tide.
How's it going?
Roll Tide.
Been a while.
Been a while. You know, this summer off season, you know, when we're going every couple of weeks, trying to let some content build up.
Yeah.
But we got some now. We got some Bama recruiting news. Coleman Coliseum's going to get some much needed upgrades in lieu of a new arena at the moment, but they're much needed upgrades. So that's exciting. Paul Skenes, Shohei Ohtani. I mean, that was a matchup for the season right there. And Skenes is a rookie, but it doesn't get any better than those first two at bats. And you know, Skenes K'd him one, and then Ohtani yacked him the second one to dead center. I mean, but that's the best player in the world against, you could argue, one of the best pitchers in the world, even at his age. But his stuff is making big league hitters look silly.
I mean, he's close to a top 10 pitcher already. And he's not,
right?
You know, he's very polished for his age, but he's not particularly polished for a major league pitcher. But, you know, even 2 or 3 times through the lineup and guys are still just flailing at him. It's pretty incredible to watch. It's throwing right now. So
Ohtani in 3 pitches. Okay, that's the best player in the planet.
Yeah.
You know, and the first 3 he saw, he said, "Here's the old number 1. Get a piece of it, you can rename it." I mean, it was awesome at bat, man. It was it was must watch baseball. If nobody watched that, we can get into that a little bit later. I'll cue it up. We'll watch that first at bat. The whole at bat is just awesome. But let's push off early now with some recruiting news. You know, everybody that said Debo was going to struggle down here, so far he's making a believer out of me. I don't know. I mean, we've got some highly rated commits last couple weeks.
he's tearing it up too. And, you know, 14 commits already.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I feel like the past few years with Saban, obviously great classes. It's not like he wasn't bringing in the best talent in the country, but it took him a while to kind of figure out who he wants. I like that Kalen DeBoer seems to have a very finite direction he's going to take. He likes who he likes, and he goes and gets them. And from what it seems like, he's getting whoever he wants for the most part. So,
I mean, seriously. You know, and I saw Penix on campus this week.
Yeah.
Talking to recruits, talking to players. Yeah. I mean, that kid really flipped less than you.
Gaps, you know, like I saw he picked up a O-lineman that picked Alabama over Clemson. That was pretty big.
Oh, did he? I see. Is that the who's the guy that the big guy?
I might be butchering his name.
Is that him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Michael Carroll is who he signed yesterday.
Is that the big dude?
Yeah. He's 6'6", 6'7", 320. The guy they picked up today from Phoenix City, Mal Waldrop.
Yeah, that's what I was talking
He's big.
about.
He's a 3-star, but his body will play. That's what I mean, though. Like, he has to be seeing something in these. You know, even Michael Carroll, he's not a top 100 recruit, but he looks like he can play. He's a very, very highly touted interior offensive lineman prospect. And we just went and nabbed him. Clemson wanted him. Michigan wanted him. All these other teams wanted him. And, you know, Alabama hasn't stopped. So
I love his what appears to be, he's signed a lot of 4-stars, and everybody's up in arms about the lack of 5-stars so far, which I think some will get a 5th star by the time signing day 25 rolls around.
Oh yeah,
some of those guys will earn some 5th stars, but I like the fact that we talked about this before, but I like the fact that he's recruiting for his philosophy and the need and the players that'll fit the style he wants to play, not necessarily give me the highest rated DB. It's give me the DB that plays the way that we coach defense and the way that we play defense, and that can really plug into that system. Scott's having camera issues. Yeah, you can go audio, Scott. You can go audio.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Yeah.
No, I 100% agree. And I said it poorly, but that's what I was trying to get at is, you look at LSU's and a lot of these other SEC programs, and they recruit. Everyone talks about how well all these programs recruit, but, Georgia does the same thing you were talking about, where they go and they could get any player in the country they want. Realistically, they could, but they make sure that they get the guys that will come in and fit what they need from them. Especially on the defensive side, they bring in guys that fit Kirby Smart's philosophy. It's not the most talented guys all the time, but he'll bring in whoever and mold them into what they need to be to succeed there. And I think Kalen DeBoer is really following that as well.
Well said.
So
could have some real sleepers.
Things are coming.
I just love the size, and I saw Booker's lost some weight. It's like, in this offense, you can't play at 360. You got to be down at 320, 330, be able to move, be quick, be able to pull, play in space. It's not just the big 380-pound maulers up front. You've got to be athletic. You've got to be able to move quickly, hit spots, get to spots in this offense, which I think that was a big thing Brailsford was doing when he came down here, was teaching those linemen, the current linemen we have, the schemes and the calls and the philosophies, whatever, watching film.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked hearing that. But good news on Brailsford is we when I was on the show way offsides last week, they had Nick Kelly on from Tuscaloosa News, and he was talking about how Brailsford's always been in the plan. It's just that when all that happened, when he transferred, Grubb and Huff were coming with, and everybody got down here, and he's 3,000 miles from what's familiar. Mm-hmm. And then his coaches leave. Both his coaches leave, and offensive linemen. That he was saying, like, they don't like their bond is with their position coach. Because the head coach is all over, in every which way, but their real bond is with the position coach. So I think it was, forget was he a redshirt sophomore?
Yeah.
So it's a 20-year-old kid. Suddenly he's in Tuscaloosa all by himself. Nobody, his coaches have left. All that stuff, and it was probably just a big adjustment for a kid, and I think he just needed some time.
I mean, he was a huge get, so I was really hoping it'd stick around, and certainly sounded needed. Like that the past couple months that he's staying. But
and he said that James was always going to go to TCU. It was worked out that he was going to stay through spring, and then he was going to portal. Everybody knew that was the deal that was arranged. Something for some reason he needed to wait through spring, maybe for a class or something, finish a class or something. I don't know, but they knew in the spring that James was going to transfer. So that wasn't a shock. So, which I didn't think it was a total shock, but still, it's good to know that he didn't just drop it on him.
I mean, he's been waiting a while, and we pretty much replaced that situation right away, but it makes me just wonder about depth too. I know we brought in that kid from Michigan State, Van Decker or whatever his name is. Can't remember right now, but that's solid depth. Behind that, I don't know who else we can slide in there at center. Casey Poe, maybe. Miles McVay was on the depth chart I saw, but
Was he at center?
he was
Somewhere down there?
Yeah, it was a mock, but
Yeah.
like a mock depth chart. But that seems weird to me. He seems really big to be playing center, in my personal opinion. But
Yeah, I think you're right. I wonder how many guys will get reps at center, in, quote, OTAs, whatever they have in college. And then when fall ball starts, I wonder how many guys are going to get reps at center.
or
It's
Rock
just
Montgomery is another one too, another name I saw.
Yeah.
So I imagine there will be a lot of faces they'll stick there. Got to have a backup.
Mavericks in the house.
Indeed, gentlemen. Hello.
Oh,
Can you hear
right.
me? Is it coming
Yeah.
across clearly?
You and Fonzie are going audio tonight, so they'll just have to look at me and Hunter's beautiful faces.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I won't even really be paying attention to the screen itself. I'm on the road right now down to Orlando. So
Nice. Did you guys get down to there okay? You guys are in Orlando already?
We're still about 81 miles away. So
Oh, okay.
we'll be there sooner than we think.
Cool. So we were just touching base on some recruiting news we've had with these offensive linemen. I think we got a couple of DB commits too. If I'm not mistaken.
That's
Mhm.
right. That's right. And we also, I thought it was today, we had a legacy commit from a 6'5", 325-pound offensive lineman.
Was that the Phoenix City guy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's another 25 guy. I think, DeBoer's killing it right now when it comes to recruiting. Now, whatever happens if he can, take that to the next level, that's another thing. But as of right now, he's making all the naysayers shut their mouths. So that's the good thing.
You can't argue with what the results we've seen. I mean, guys are visiting. He's getting guys on campus. I think Courtney Morgan is a big cog in this whole thing.
Oh yeah,
Huge
absolutely.
And they're landing Saban targets.
Yeah.
So he's getting guys that thought they were getting recruited by Nick Saban 6 months ago and getting them to buy in. I mean, this Keelan Russell kid, he's committed to SMU. It was likely he was going to flip from what it sounded like, but to go out and nab him, after he was a target under Saban's pretty impressive. So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's.
You
very
look at his
impressive.
frame and everything. 6'3", 185. His height is a huge factor. I love that he's tall. Put another 15, 20 pounds on him. We'll see what happens. But I think we're set for a good long while there at the QB position, as long as everything stays the same.
And I've heard a lot of comparisons that he reminds a lot of people of a right-handed Penix. Which I hesitate to put expectations like that on somebody, but
Yeah.
if he's, and then Penix, we also mentioned Parker that he's on. Penix has been on campus visiting recruits and players, and
Up at Alabama?
yeah,
I did not know that.
yeah. There's several pictures I saw of him with several. I don't know if they were visiting Fonzie. Were they visiting, or were they current players?
I can't remember. I think it was,
Yeah, it was one of
I
the
want to
two.
say recruits.
Yeah, could have been just guys visiting, whatever. But he was taking pictures and whatnot, and I really like that already because that was a big thing with Saban, was the door is always open for former players to come back and be around the program and be on the sidelines and all that. I really hoped DeBoer would continue that, even for players that weren't his. Even for Saban players.
It's good to hear
I'd
because
be hard for
I
us.
feel like I had heard
to see if
rumors.
he didn't.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Hunter. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say that's good to hear because I think I had heard rumors that there was bad blood between Penix and DeBoer,
Really?
but it sounds like that was probably just a wash if he's coming to campus and whatnot.
I mean, I hope so because he was on campus. So if there was,
Was
They
that
either
the rumor
squashed it-
about it when it was at Senior Bowl? Was that what
Yeah, like he tried to
Or he
shake his
didn't?
hand or something like that. I think we would
I
probably.
think that was-
that's right. You remember that picture they took like mid step, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Look, he's turning away from DeBoer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think he was just in the middle of walking.
It was probably just BS.
It's like he turned to sneeze or something. And they're like, look at him. He doesn't want nothing to do with DeBoer. He's turning his back on him.
Or when they took a picture of Nick Saban, Miss Terry, the one time where they were frowning when he was giving his first speech. Oh, look at them. They're just
they're miserable.
Yeah.
They hate him. What?
Twitterverse.
Yeah.
Twitterverse.
Gotta love the still shots that show no actual representation.
Twitter gets. You're right. Twitter gets giddy, and then it's just. Oh man, but yes, he's. You can't ask for him to do any better on the recruiting trail. I mean, I think we if you'd have told us 6 months ago, hey, here's what he's going to do, I think at the time we would have been like, hey, let's pump the brakes. You know, it might take him a year or two before he can really get established and get back in the living rooms of these elite players, you know, as that transition takes place.
Yeah,
it has been 6 months today, back in January, that Saban would have announced his retirement. It was like the 11th or 12th. I remember it being on a Wednesday, wasn't it? Like the Wednesday after the Natty.
Yeah, it was somewhere close to that. Because DeBoer was in Tuscaloosa like 3 days after that game.
Mm-hmm. That's Saturday.
And it's just crazy to think, that we're to this point and where we have these kind of results in the recruiting trail. 6 months ago, we were just...
And we didn't know what was going on.
We didn't know what to do.
Who are these staff members? Who the hell is that guy? Who the hell is that? What? Got somebody from Purdue? Huh? There's no special teams coach? What am I looking at?
He's building the roster, though. I'll tell you that. He used the portal really well.
Oh my
God. We've
God.
talked about that. I'm probably beating a dead horse, but Kalen DeBoer built a whole roster. It's not like some of these other big programs that, look at USC. USC is always going to have a quarterback. Lincoln Riley, I know it's only his third year, but he has not built a defense even close to where it needs to be yet.
Ever. Not even Oklahoma.
Including Oklahoma, 100%, Joe.
DeBoer walked into a good situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give him that, but
the cupboard wasn't bare.
It wasn't all him, but he's filled all the holes. He's built out a full roster, and there's no reason, unless something horrible happens and they're just horribly ill prepared for an SEC schedule as a coaching staff, that this team isn't, not only knocking on the door in the playoff, but making a serious push to be, a top 5 team.
Absolutely.
So I got a good question for y'all. Have y'all been seeing any of these like AI predictors or whatever for some of these sports? For some of the sports around the world, one of them was like a Kobe what if. And AI created this narrative like, what if Charlotte never got rid of him or never gave up the draft pick and stayed there? That was a crazy one. I saw one today, and it was for DeBoer and his tenure at Alabama. This whatever version of it had him winning at least 4 national titles until his contract being up in 2034. And I was like,
10 games every year, 10 plus wins
10
every
games
year.
every year. Yeah, I was like, good Lord. It's been high.
I'll take that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, nothing less than 10 wins. I was like, man, I don't know how much, it's
I'm
crazy.
perfectly fine with that. Although if he wins 4 rings and say, if he wins, I think here's my fear is I think if he wins 1 or 2 that the NFL is going to come calling. Now, maybe he's not an NFL guy and he just doesn't want anything to do with it. But until he says that and turns it down, that'll always be a worry for me now. Because with Saban, it was like, okay, he tried the NFL, didn't like it. Now he's back. He's settled in. He's not going anywhere. So we got him at the perfect time after he dipped his feet in the NFL waters. But, at what point, if DeBoer keeps winning at this rate and then he wins a ring or 2, do the Seahawks fire that guy if he sucks and then come calling DeBoer, or the Saints or somebody? Some NFL team's going to come calling him if he's uber successful here.
Yeah, I hope he's kind of like Kirby, where I don't think Kirby wants to go anywhere anytime soon. So,
Kirby dumb to leave Georgia. He's got it made there no matter what he does from here on out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Unless the NCAA keeps annoying him like he does everybody else.
the NCAA, like buzzing around trying to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, I
out of
just
my
said I wouldn't be
face.
surprised in 5 years if they are not dissolved.
You know how you all complain about this one thing, so we changed 10 other things that are completely unrelated.
Why'd you change that? I don't know.
Ah,
Okay.
it's for the clicks.
Yeah. We're going to start using a round ball now. Wait, what? Why? We don't even know. Just shut up. Okay. You're fired for asking too many questions.
But don't be buying players plane tickets now. That's a big no-no. All right, Tennessee, I'm watching you.
I'm watching you then.
Speaking of plane tickets, did y'all watch that link I sent y'all about the story with Nick Perkins? About the Saban story about Dominic Jackson back in 2020.
I saw the link. I didn't get a chance to watch the video of it yet, but
It had me on the floor. Y'all need to go watch that. Nick Perkins put it out probably about 3 or 4 days ago. And here it's about a 5-minute video. If none of y'all have watched it out there who are watching today, go out there. It'll have you on the floor laughing if your belly hurts because you can. I mean, some of the things he says. I mean, he's got commentary from Lane Kiffin, and of course, he's kind of explaining what Lane's saying in that situation. I'm like, yeah, that sounds 1,000% like Lane Kiffin's response. That's 100% right. It was hilarious. So, it was too good. But yeah, so I won't spoil it if nobody's watching it. So go get a chance to go watch.
I think I opened it when I was walking somewhere and saw that it was like 5 minutes, and then was like, okay, I'll have to watch it later. And then,
I showed it to Heather from work, and she thought it was hilarious. So.
Yeah, I watched it probably when he came out.
Oh, really?
Like right after, yeah. Popped up on my feed somehow because I'm on Twitter too much, but it's pretty good. I recommend everyone give it a watch. That guy has a lot of that podcast that guy does. He has a ton of stories that he'll just post.
What's the pod? What is it?
Let me find it for you.
I think he used to do one with Crue, like way back in the day. I think it was him and Nick Perkins that did that.
Well, this isn't Nick Perkins' podcast. He just posted it.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember exactly what this guy did, but he worked for Alabama football.
Yeah, he was on the staff.
Alabama athletics during Saban's tenure.
What it was.
Okay. I'll have to go check that out.
McCready and Siskey. I see their stuff on TikTok a lot too. So if you're plugged in on TikTok, McCready and Siskey, you'll find them.
All right. I don't have TikTok, but McCready and Siskey. I'll look it up on.
I'm sure they're everywhere.
Yeah.
YouTube.
You like me, Morph and Instagram Reels guy?
Oh, low. So also pivoting off of football for a minute, some news about some Coleman Coliseum upgrades that are going to be taking place over the next couple of years. I think 2026 is when they said it was going to be finished or close to.
I think that's right.
When I first heard about it, I was not excited because I was like, why are we sinking more money into that dump? But once I heard and read that article that Chase Goodbread put out, I think it was Chase Goodbread, but talking about why it made sense now to do this, because eventually this new addition they're doing, Coleman's going to be bulldozed and they're going to build a new place onto this new addition, the practice area and the practice facility and stuff. So it's going to connect into Coleman, and then eventually I think the plan is they'll blow Coleman up and build the new place on the same spot.
Right there.
So it's being built like an attachment?
Yes, I believe so. If I'm not mistaken, it's connecting to Coleman, but it's like a whole new thing, practice facility.
Wonder, you'll know where it was, like
training facility.
We lived at Rock Point or State,
Yeah, so around that area.
It'll be on the opposite side of where we were facing the practice field and everything. It's going to be on where the parking lot and everything was on the far side.
Yeah.
Where they just built that bridge over from 15th Street.
Okay.
So that's where it's not like that parking lot was going to be filled out anyway. I mean, it was way too big. So I don't see an issue with it. I think, to Jeff's point, when I initially saw it, I saw that it was $57 million, $58 million. I was like, there's no way in heck that's going to build a new arena. Obviously. I was like, I guess inflation took a dip or something. But then I saw it was a 14,000 square feet practice facility, if I'm not, 14,000 square feet practice facility. That's pretty cool. And some other rehab stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but I think there's some new training stuff and that players lounge. I mean, I don't know. There's a bunch of new stuff, but I'm not a Coleman Coliseum fan, as everybody knows. So, but it needs something. This is better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And with the fact that we're going to have such high expectations next year, if they can live up to them, they're going to need some type of upgrade in that arena or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, at least they're doing something. At least Byrne recognizes it. At least they're doing something with that place.
I'm assuming the time frame on the tearing down Coleman once the additions made.
There's probably no telling. I mean, the longer they wait, the more costs go up. I think they said the original budget, the original estimate was 180, and then a year later it was 250.
Yeah.
So it went up 70 million in a year. So it's like, I mean, they should have done it 5 years ago. Hindsight now. But the longer we kick the can down the road now, the more expensive it's going to be. So, if they get a big capital campaign, lots of donors and raise some money that way or something, it's probably, I don't know, would you say 5 to 7 years off before it's really a serious conversation?
Yeah, let's say the addition takes a year, depending on how big the practice stuff, all that stuff is.
I think it'll be the 25 season this year, right? 25 basketball season.
24, 25, starting 24 and
I think it'll be done by 26.
Is the idea they want it in the exact same spot, or it would have to move, right? That's a quick turnaround.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if they're building on to this expansion,
it's
kind of goofy to put $60 million into an expansion and then
bulldoze it
up in 2 years.
Yeah.
So you got to think they have something planned out, and this is just phase one of their little project.
And then I saw an interview with Nate, and
years old.
I've seen them grow buildings up in summer, so I guess it's not impossible.
Yeah. Well, Nate said in an interview that the arena is not as big a deal to him as the practice facility and the training facility and all the new stuff they're going to add to it. He said that's way more important to the future and to the team than just a new place to play games in. They need better practice facilities, better training facilities, things to show high-end recruits when they come in. This is where you're going to be training. This is where you're going to be practicing. Playing the games is one thing, is something different. But I did remember him saying that the bigger deal was getting these additions than getting a new arena to play games in on Saturdays and Wednesdays.
I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Yeah. And I mean, if he's building the team, go ahead, Fonz.
No, that's all I was going to say. I mean, that's where they spend most of their time.
Yeah.
The only time you see them is during the games. I guess it's kind of obvious, so I don't need to say it. I was just thinking out loud. But
insightful
state-of-the-art facilities where they spend 8 hours a day are always a plus, I would think.
Yes, I agree with that. Totally agree with that. So it's, at least something's happening. We're not just sitting on our, hands, with status quo. So at least they're doing something. At least, Byrne recognizes that it's an issue. Now, logistically making it work is the other story, but at least it's on the radar. Everybody knows that we need a new arena. When that happens, don't know.
I would like to see how old everybody's stadium is. Now, Auburn's obviously not would be considered as far as old they got theirs built in what, like 2015, 2016. Their new arena, Neville. I think it's
somewhere around
Neville
there.
Arena.
It was before
Million over Ole Miss.
Brucey got there.
That's right. So I don't know. I think we probably have one of the oldest in the country, if not the oldest.
Yeah, because I think Arkansas is pretty new, Ole Miss is pretty new, Auburn's pretty new. Those are the three off the top of my head I can think of that are fairly new.
How old is Coleman Coliseum?
God, 1,000 years old.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's approaching 60 years
Oh
old.
my gosh.
I think
Yeah.
it's
I think it was
like
I think it used to be the main campus building because it was the first building ever built on campus.
56 years old.
1831.
1831.
They just kept repurposing it for the last 150 years. It wound up in a basketball arena or a multi-purpose facility.
1968, the year.
Wow.
Great year.
Let's see, the oldest arena in Division I basketball. Off campus is Northeastern University, built in 1910.
Ooh, nice.
Good Lord.
Playing in squalor.
Like Rickwood Field. They're playing all the games at Rickwood Field.
Back porch is a piece of plywood.
Yeah, that's basically all that arena is. I mean, they've still got wooden backboards. There's no glass backboards.
Oh my Lord.
They still got peach baskets as their fun.
That's it. They got peach baskets nailed up to the side of the wall. Throwing wads of paper at it or a medicine ball or something.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. So good Coleman up.
It'd be great when they get
Coleman.
electricity in that place.
Yeah. I bet your mother was something before electricity, huh? But all right, so that's stuff on Coleman. Now we talked a little bit about this earlier when the show first started. About the Skenes, Paul Skenes, Shohei Ohtani matchup last week. You know, you watch Skenes pitch and you're like, 1 year ago, this guy was throwing to college hitters. And almost 12 months later, almost exactly 12 months later, he's throwing 101 to Shohei Ohtani at PNC Park. That's astonishing to me. It's like no wonder the guy struck out 220 hitters in 105 innings last year in the SEC or whatever that number was, that ridiculous number was. I mean, he should have been pitching some throws.
Unhittable I've ever seen.
I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid. He's got, let's see, he just mowed through the top of the bottom of the fourth there for in St. Louis, struck out 2 of them.
Yeah, he has 5 strikeouts tonight through 4.
No problems. 50 pitches, I think, 55 pitches, something like that. He's the most polished pitcher I can remember that could walk off a college mound and almost directly into the pros.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
It's extremely impressive. So, let's see. I'm going to cue this up because we're going to take a look at this at bat. This is something. All right. I got to get my share going here, though.
Proud.
Oh, almost.
It's an incredible show to watch Skenes anytime, but now the fans are so into every pitch, especially a team like the Dodgers.
There we go.
Oh,
Okay.
The reaction is
Almost.
incredible here.
Fastballs in the inner half.
Ball was in the glove before he
Shohei.
swung.
I mean, his elbows were all pulled in.
0-2.
This is just nasty. Anybody hitting this right here? Good night. 101. See ya.
How do you like this show? How do you like this show, Pittsburgh?
Wow.
I mean, they're just like,
Joining us. That's 6 pitches.
look at this.
to Paul Skenes on the
You're
day.
gone.
That's 6 strikes. I'm sorry, there's 7 pitches. And that's 2 strikeouts.
That was just silly.
We have to sign him
Yes.
today
For everything.
after this game. He
Please.
needs a new contract.
Please. Just extend him now. Just extend him now. That's all.
Yep.
And it's done.
10 years, 200 mil.
Just make it happen. It's fine.
They need to. I'm not even kidding. Pirates need to get serious about this. Him and Jared Jones.
About to say they've got like 2 young good pitchers. I'm not sure how Keller's doing this year, but
Keller's started rough, but he's 6-0 with a 1.13 ERA in his last 6. I mean, we might have the best 1-2-3 in the league.
good Lord.
It's been pretty incredible. It's just a matter of if we can score more than 2 runs, 3 runs on a given night.
That is a big if.
And then if we do that, our bullpen gives up 6. So it's a balancing act. They're learning. They're young.
Yeah.
We'll
Well, I mean, I think y'all starters are going to be just fine.
No, we got 2 or 3 more on the way too. I mean,
Oh man. Did they option Henry Davis? Is he back?
yeah, they brought him back up, and he's 1 for 12,
Uh,
1 for 14 with like 8 or 9 strikeouts. So he didn't figure anything out. They've been finding ways to win. You know, they're right in the thick of it. I can't ask for much more. The whole league's kind of mediocre except for about 5 teams. So is what it is.
well, they just got to stay. If they stay in it, stay around 500, they'll be able to get in at least one of the playoff spots, one of the wild card spots. They can just stay around 500 and then hit it, catch something hot, catch a winning streak late in the year and, steal the division or sneak out of their division. I mean, if you got 2 guys at the top of the rotation, and then if Keller, comes around consistently, that's 3 guys top of the rotation you could put against anyone in a 5-game series, even in a 7-game series.
Oh yeah, I mean I wouldn't want to play us in the playoffs, to be honest. Like I said, you don't know what the offense is going to be, but Skenes, Jones,
like
Keller
that
is not who I want to see in the playoffs.
I mean,
Of course, it could all fall apart.
not in a short
Terrible
series.
for the Pirates.
You're right about that. You are right about that. Not in a short series.
Speaking of Major League Baseball, how are the Yankees?
The Yankees are playing well. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers, but they're in first place by 6 games, I think. A little bit of scare with Juan Soto.
Oh, Lord.
And he had a forearm inflammation, whatever, so he sat out for 3 games. A lot of people were worried it was a torn elbow. But, we'll see.
Has he since returned since then?
Yeah, he's back in. He was back in yesterday.
Oh, okay. That's good. I was about to say, if that is not the Yankee curse, I don't know what else is. Something ain't right.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be if he went down with something torn up, that would be 4 position players in the last 6 years the Yankees have had blow their arms out.
That just signed over $80, $90 million contracts.
Well, he hadn't signed. Soto hadn't signed. I mean, it wasn't any guys that just got signed. It was just, it was just a scare on his throwing arm. But you never know those things, man. I mean, those UCLs are nuts. But Juan Soto is certainly worth whatever contract he'll get. Watching the guy hit, it's almost like watching Skenes pitch. It's not fair. Outside of Barry Bonds, Soto's one of the only guys I've ever seen that's, if you're at 0-2, you're at a disadvantage because he's seen your 2 best pitches. And now, how are you going to get him out? because he's seen your two best pitches, and then he just takes, foul, take, and then he smokes one into the gap, or he crushes one over the fence or something. I mean, it's just nuts.
And he's 25.
25. And he's been in the league for what, 7 years?
Yeah.
6
I
years?
mean, 18. That year the Nats won the World Series.
I think he came up halfway through that year as an 18-year-old.
Yeah, they were terrible. They were in last place, and then I think Soto came up, and they had one or two guys come back, and they just ran through the whole league.
They got hot, and they just tore through it. I mean, the funniest thing I ever seen on the baseball field is 18-year-old Soto hitting the ball about 600 feet off Verlander in the World Series and carrying his bat all the way to first base. The kid was 18.
Or was this when did they? Was it 18 or 19?
It was 19 when they won the World Series.
Okay,
Because that was Bryce Harper's first year in Philly.
that's right. Yeah,
Because they won the World Series the very next year after Harper left. And then, Bregman hit a home run earlier in that game and carried his bat almost all the way to first. And so Soto hit that one in the parking lot, he carried his bat all the way up to first base against Verlander. And he was 18 or 19. Get out of here.
I just can't believe the Nationals let both Harper and Soto go.
Two generational players.
Harper was 25 or 26 at the time. It's like he actually had a contract due. He was a UFA.
Yeah.
I get it. He was going to test the market anyway, probably. But I mean, Soto trading him at what, 23? It's just crazy.
But and I know they got CJ Abrams, the shortstop for him.
CJ Abrams, yeah.
Yeah, but you're going to get rid of Soto. You need a transcendental player. I mean,
Abrams is going to be very good.
Yeah,
but they didn't get like a guy like Soto. You're expecting to get probably a major league piece.
Yeah,
which Abrams was MLB ready, so that's kind of your major league ready piece. But they got a bunch of other like good prospects. They didn't get many great. It's hard to trade guys. I almost would trade your other pieces and try to build around them. But
you're never going to get equal value for Soto, until years later if a prospect, blows up. And then you can look back and say, well, it was a good trade. But for at least 10 years, 7 to 10 years, that Soto's in his prime, it's always going to be like, man, we didn't get enough for him. But I couldn't understand Fonzie. I don't understand the Padres getting rid of him, but then going out and trading for Dylan Cease and like still making moves to stay competitive. And it's like, if you're going to do that, why don't you just keep Soto and make a run this year? And then he walks in free agency, but you weren't going to re-sign him anyway. So, if you're going to trade for Dylan Cease and try to make a run, why not keep Soto and just try it? I don't know.
I'm with you. I don't know why the Padres do what they do. They seem to always just be. I'll give them this. They go for it. I think Preller's a good GM. They go for it. Like they spend money. They do the right things. But
that's true.
Some of their moves are just kind of lateral.
I mean, if you're gonna sell it off, sell it off.
Mm-hmm.
But don't sell the best hitter in the game and then trade for a ace pitcher.
They have all this money tied up in, Machado and Bogarts, Darvish. Yeah,
they have 3 huge contracts to shortstops, and none of the 3 are playing shortstop.
Nope.
That's the wildest thing I've ever seen. Of course, Machado was more of a third baseman when they signed him, but originally was a shortstop. And then Tatis, and then Bogarts. And none of them are playing shortstop.
in that, I mean, Jake Cronenworth, they gave him a bag 2 years ago, and he was putrid last year. Yeah, I mean, he was a all-star second baseman, and now he's their first baseman.
Now he's the first.
Just awful.
So
Their
I'd like to
asset
congratulate.
management is interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate the Braves on winning the World Series this year. Since Acuna left his knee on the field.
Yeah, we were all joking about that. It's like, okay, now that Acuna's injured.
Yeah, Braves will pick up some scrappy.
Really sad for Acuna's case.
It's like, well, I have won you 2 World Series. I didn't play in any of them, but
Yeah.
I did win you 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that was bad when I saw that play, and he twisted. It looked eerily similar to that play in right field, with just the way his knee awkwardly turned.
There was even a few games before that where there were some close calls. Like, he had just stepped the wrong way. So I knew it was coming.
You can almost see it. You just
Yeah.
like, this kid's gonna rip it one of these times. He's gonna rip his knee out, and sure enough.
I know. It's just, I love him, but
Yeah.
come on, man.
I wonder what they're gonna do. Is Duvall gonna be the right fielder, the day-to-day right fielder for the time being? Are they gonna get someone? I wonder.
I don't know. I like Duvall as a hitter for sure. Yeah. So
They shouldn't have gotten rid of Soler.
That's what I said. They should have re-signed
Um,
Soler a couple years ago. That's who they should have kept.
I mean, that would have been a huge
Yeah,
pickup.
I don't know if they could
right now.
have afforded him, because they let Rosario walk. I don't think they wanted to pay Rosario, and they got that Kellenic from Seattle for nothing. So it's almost like whatever you get from Kellenic is going to be a plus because you really expected nothing from him.
He's been solid too.
Yeah, he hadn't been terrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Braves as a whole on offense are scuffling a little. I think Matt Olson's hitting like a 600 OPS.
Yeah, he's
And
really
I was like,
struggling.
ouch. And
Yeah.
You mentioned Duvall too, and he's kind of always been that steady.
yeah,
He'll give you a 400 good at bats every year and has some power, but he's really
What's
struggled as
Austin
well.
Riley doing? Is he doing
Yeah.
okay?
who's that?
Austin Riley?
Oh, he was injured for a while.
yeah, he's out a few games.
But even his numbers they're not bad, but they're not at Austin Riley levels.
Yeah, it's
The
like
power's
for a year
just
rut.
dipped
Yeah.
incredibly. He's hitting for no power right now.
Yeah,
I think he's got single digit home runs, I think.
yeah. Just
Like
crazy.
low singles, like 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. Sean Murphy missed like 60 games. I think he pulled his
Yeah.
oblique like opening day and then just now came back a couple games ago. So they hadn't gotten much out. I mean, Chadwick Tromp has a lot of at-bats this year. That's not a good formula. So, I mean, it's just there really isn't one player that's standing out. I think Chris Sale being incredible this year has really kept him in it, although he got lit up his last start, but he's been pretty outstanding this year. He slaughtered the Red Sox in that start against the Red Sox. The one in
Slaughtered the
Atlanta.
Pirates too.
Oh, did he? Did he get the Pirates
Yeah.
bad too? Yeah. Telling you, if that slider of his is working, he got no shot.
That's what
Nope.
I don't know. I forgot about his slider until I was watching that game. I forgot he only throws it like 78, 79 miles per hour.
Yeah. And it
It's
breaks
like a really,
8
really
inches.
hard curveball. Yeah.
Yeah. It breaks like 1.5 feet, and lefties just flail at it. And you're
it's-
telling them, here comes the slider, and they swing anyway, and they can't help it.
It's so disgusting.
It's so slow that you're like, oh, I'm gonna rake this, and then it breaks 1.5 feet and lands in the back corner of the opposite batter's box. It's like, what? So with Strider going down, that was a big
Yeah.
pickup.
We lost him pretty early too. That was like a second injury for like the exact same thing. So I don't know. I hate it for his career.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least now, if they were trying to be any kind of renegotiation, trying to just keep him for the experience part,
Yeah.
we got that in the bag. But I don't know.
It wouldn't shock me.
Especially when it's 2 issues like that, the same old.
Yes. Well, especially elbow issues and so many things happen. And honestly, it wouldn't shock me if some of these pitchers in college or early minor leagues like get Tommy John before they tear it, almost like I'm gonna proactively go ahead and have my ligament fixed before it tears.
A ripple effect.
I'm wondering if there's or if you can even do that before it tears, or like we can't do anything until it tears, then we can strengthen it, or is medicine advancing to the point where they can say, hey, we can do this surgery and basically strengthen your tendon before it even has a chance to, or your ligament before it even has a chance to wear down and tear. I don't know. Kills me watching these softball players have 200 pitches and then the next day they're pitching again.
I know. Yeah,
it's like
that
natural
arm motion.
It's crazy, man. It's like when your arm just be dragging the next day, even just tired, not even throwing underhanded. You figure they've got 150, 200 pitches. They at least just be tired, right?
Oh yeah.
No. Next night, especially Alabama, they have one pitcher and no hitters. So, Beaver's got to pitch every game at the end of the year if they want to win.
Maybe
don't get me started on Alabama softball. Don't get me started.
Maverick's trying to drive.
Trying to drive right now. Joel's very upset.
Darby, take the wheel. Take the wheel, I said, damn it.
Take the wheel.
So, I don't know. It's the pitcher injuries are nuts. I'm terrified. I mean, Skenes has such a natural delivery that, you're like, it's not the worst.
Sorry, I thought it was a
delivery. Sorry. Okay, so Chris confirms. What's up, Chris? Thanks for joining us, brother. Okay, so there's nothing you can do until the UCL tears. So what if they go in there and tear it? Would that be an option, I wonder, to open it up and just like tear it and then rebuild it? Like, look, pal, it's gonna be torn anyway.
Yeah.
Willingly, I don't think so. I don't think willingly.
I think you're right, Chris. The Dodgers will rip your heart out.
Sure hope they do.
Me too. I'm not gonna lie. I sure hope they do. I just want the Yankees to win a playoff series again. I just want to see what that feels like again.
I just want the Pirates to have a winning
playoff series.
This is why I hate talking to other baseball fans. I was in a class last week and started talking to the guy, and he was a Cardinals fan, and he's talking about, we're on rough times. And I was like, I would trade my whole 26 years of existence just to experience what you've experienced.
A lot of Pirate fans would too, Fonz. A lot of people up in Yinzertown would do the same. A lot of fogies old like me that remember the Bonds throw would trade everything they have for Bonds to have not, three-hopped it from deep short when Sid Bream was not stealing home, but when Sid Bream was running home.
Sid Bream was not stealing home.
Not stealing home, but I meant he technically did, because there's no way he should have scored. And
yeah,
he did. So he technically did steal home, if you want to be technical about it.
Slow as hell. My parents were at that game.
Oh, they were at that game. Oh man.
Yep.
Dude, we had just moved here that summer of '92 of that series, because we were living in Idaho in the '91 series, and then we had moved down to Alabama that summer for the '92 series. And then the Braves lost the World Series, which they've done a bunch of times.
They sure did.
Yeah. The Braves' worst cancer is the division series. I went back after they lost the division series last year to the Phillies again, and they've lost like 14 division series.
Yeah. You really do see a trend, huh?
or they've played in 14 and lost 11. It was something like they were 3-11 in division series, or 3-14 in division series, going back to the Bobby Cox years. And then I looked on Baseball Reference, at the team history, and you get down to the playoffs, and it was like L in NLDS, L NLDS, L NLDS, L NLDS, L NLDS. And like 3 of them were against Houston, 2 of them were against the Cubs. It's like all these same teams they kept losing to in the same series against the same teams. I was like, "Jeez, man, couldn't remember."
Yeah, last year against the Phillies was excruciating to watch. I can't stand Harper, so it just stings more.
Well, does got some good baseball chat. Does anybody have anything else they want to add as we hit an hour?
Stanley Cup's been a snooze fest.
Forgot about the Stanley Cup.
It has been a snooze fest for me. It's great.
I was going to say, as a non-biased fan with no team in the fight, I have not enjoyed it as much as I have in years past. But it is a spectacle. It's the best tournament in sports, and I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah, I'll give it
officiating's
that.
been awful.
Look at this. This kid's got the Stanley Cup in his backyard.
Yeah, Nikki Cass.
Florida, America's team right now.
Agreed. Yes. And that Sergei Bobrovsky, you dirtbag, you.
AKA the freaking brick wall.
Crap. That's what he is. A piece of crap is what he is. He was Huck looked like a aspirin to him when he played for the Flyers.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that. That'll be a half-hour rant. But
I would be shocked if the Oilers win the first game back at Edmonton. If we can at least win 1 away, that I'd be happy with that. So.
Yeah. If you win 1 on the road, then the series is over.
Yeah. So that's all I need. I know Edmonton's going to start playing a desperate game. They have to, kind of like the Bruins did towards the end.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they can close it out. I hope they do. I hope the Panthers finish it off. It'd be cool to see it stay in America.
Yeah, I know everybody hates us because they play dirty and yada, yada, yada. I don't care.
They'll be fine. Yeah, because nobody plays dirty in hockey.
Yeah.
There's no way you can get away with that.
Last year when we went up against the Knights, the bullied became the bullied. So
yeah,
the Knights threw it right back in our face.
Here's this will be real quick. Here's my problem with the Florida Panthers. Is they do so much all the time. Like they're a team that they push the line so much to the point where it's the officials can't call everything, right? Which, like, fine, whatever. If you're going to play that way, fine. Anytime anything happens to any one of their players, they flop around. They're dramatic. Paul Maurice is throwing his hands up. They dive everywhere. They just cry. It just drives me nuts. I have a lot of respect for the Panthers and a lot of respect for the players on their team and the way they play, and they're tough out. They're an incredibly well-rounded team, but like, my God, it's just so hypocritical. And I'm just bitching, but
I hear you, man. Yeah, that's frustrating watching. Just like Luka Doncic, like watching Luka play basketball every night.
It's just
flopping and crying and whining and fouls here and fouls there, and just move along.
I've only been watching the playoffs. Where are they at right now?
In the finals. They're
who's in the
same as the NHL. It's 2-0 Boston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going to Dallas for Game 3. I think Game 3 is the night after Game 3 of the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
So, anyway, well, good topics tonight, fellas. We had some baseball. We had some recruiting. We had some hockey. We had some Coleman stuff. Got Maverick on the road. So, nice, well-rounded show. Touched a lot of topics. A lot of stuff to cover over the last couple of weeks. So we're looking forward to reconvening again in a couple of weeks, get a little bit closer to football season, a little bit more stuff. We may have some more recruiting news when we reconvene here in a couple of weeks. So looking forward to that. Definitely. So getting closer to football season, boys.
Less than 90 days.
Football around the corner,
Less than 90. Less than 90. So here we go. Well, if nobody has anything else, we're going to sign us off. Thanks for everybody joining. Thanks for those watching online, anywhere. Thanks, Chris, for popping in the comments. Thanks, Rick, for the Bama Network, for getting us all together and a place for us to hang out and chat. So appreciate everyone. Gentlemen, roll tide, and we'll see you all in a couple weeks.
Roll tide.
Bye.